Hello, fellow Araxians, Commander Cyrious here. Well, with the robot patch successfully deployed, population is up and servers are full. But no rest for the weary, and the devs said that the next big thing they want to tackle is the new player experience. Let's discuss. So guys, new player experience. This is obviously a topic that's near and dear to my heart because a lot of time and energy on my channel has been spent on that, specifically trying to cultivate it for anyone that needs a little help getting into Planetside. But I need to bring a couple things up before we really dive in. Something I've said before, and you've probably heard from other sources, is new players are the lifeblood of the game. And I think some veteran players might be like, what, are we chopped liver? I've been subscribed since day one. I've spent hundreds of dollars on the game. And you're going to say some BR0 that spent $0 on the game is the lifeblood? The way I would put it is if new players are the lifeblood, veteran players are the heart of the game. The heart is always there. It's always pumping. It's always keeping it going. It's a necessary baseline. And the lifeblood supply rises and falls. I would argue both are extremely critical to the overall longevity of the game. It's an especially apt metaphor because sometimes the heart will just churn through the new blood, give it a couple laps around the circuit, and then it's gone. But for the game to be at its best, at its healthiest, you need a robust heart. That is a staple of veteran players that are subscribers and willing to buy bundles to keep that income flowing. And then you want a constant influx of players to keep the servers full. Some of those players will turn into paying veteran members, and word of mouth of those players playing will beget additional new players checking out that game. So veterans, whenever we talk about this topic, don't think it's saying you don't matter. In fact, keeping veterans playing is probably the most important part. But for someone like me, a veteran player, there's nothing that will keep me playing more than a whole bunch of new players, because that's new content, bigger battles, more awesome action. So I would encourage veteran players to not think about it like, oh, new player experience, that doesn't mean new content, it doesn't mean new weapons, it doesn't mean new performance or balance fixes. Sure, think of it as though it's new content in the sense of more awesome action Planetside. So, and the next big thing is the reason I'm talking about this right now is we're actually having a forum, a discussion hosted on Twitch on my channel about the new player experience. Zealous is bringing a few people together like Maelstrom, the man behind PS2 Alerts, like Vindicor, the man behind Planetside Upgrade Project, like Kamikaze, who needs no introduction. So we're going to get a big discussion going, and then we'll clip the key parts with some good topics, and we'll send that to the devs. Even Rel has reached out to me. Some of the designers have some questions for us, the player base, that will help guide them in what projects to tackle in improving the new player experience. So guys, there's going to be a link to the YouTube event in the upper right of your screen. Please pull that up in the tab, or you can just hit the notification button on it so it will make you aware when it's happening. I'm going to have a time conversion link down in the description. It's 2 p.m. my time, but click that link and you'll know when it is in your time zone. There's also going to be a survey to fill out where you can provide direct feedback to the devs. Okay guys, let's dive into the new player experience. Man, this is such a massive topic, but here's the one area where I start in any game that's a game as a service, that it's something that's continuously live. And that is, how does someone catch up? I used to be cutting edge in World of Warcraft. I led a guild, and we did all the content right as it comes out. We were never quite server first, but we were top 3 in the server kills of all the bosses. We were really dialed in. Now, it's been so long since I've been tuned into World of Warcraft, going back to it would feel near impossible to me. I would feel so far behind in that I missed so much of the game. Whether it's the lore, the content, the community, whatever you want to call it. There's this kind of feeling of being an outsider because you weren't there for that event or that expansion or this thing or that cool one-time world drop. Now, World of Warcraft handles this by releasing new expansions where all the old gear ends up basically useless. And that way, if you want to join a new expansion, you are pretty much at the same playing field as everyone else. They've also worked hard to craft fun, leveling experiences where you get a taste of quests or a taste of dungeons, but make it swift and speedy so it's not the arduous grind it was when players were first consuming that content. I don't think Planetside has found any solution to this problem yet. The first thing a veteran player will say is, look, I can make a BR1 heavy assault and go out and dominate. I'm on the same playing field as a new player. And in a lot of mechanical facets, yes, that's true. But the wealth of knowledge you have about the maps, the benefit of operating with an outfit, the solid grasp of the game mechanics just set you on a tier way above a new player. And that's just the intangibles. The tangibles are, you've got 2 bricks of C4. You've got tanks that have souped up rival or racer chassis. You have the pocket hardlight umbrellas and the flak projectors. There is a lot of gear out there that makes the playing field not quite even. So, to me, I think there needs to be some sort of big catch-up mechanic. Cert game is absolutely much faster than it used to be. They've introduced missions, which helps a lot. There's great rewards for playing in alerts, and you no longer need to complete an alert to get the rewards. They really have made big strides. The tough part is all of these things are just as available to veteran players, so there really is no gap closure happening. I did a video in the past where I suggested tying your cert game to a prestige system, so the first time you make it up to BR 100, you get 1 cert per 100 experience. For reference, it's currently 250 experience per cert. And each time around the ASP cycle, the prestige cycle, it would increase by 100. So it would be 200, 300, and then 400. The idea to me was it would encourage very veteran players to subscribe, because then you could just lock people at 250 experience for cert for being a member. The too long didn't read version is that you have to find a way for new players to feel like they are progressing fast. In this day and age, games have really made a shift where players generally have access to all the weapons. It's all cosmetics that you get or buy or work towards. So there's always going to be some hesitation to give them too many rewards, because then they don't have to spend any cash to get their weapons. But Planetside literally has hundreds of weapons to access on any faction at this point. It's definitely time to make it really, really easy for new players to buy stuff when they are starting out. The next big topic has to do really with skill. Why does it take me so long to kill other people, but I die so fast? And this is something that doesn't have a good solution. Planetside is unique in that it is not round-based. It is not an arena shooter. Pretty much every other game out there has a balancing mechanic. Hidden elo ratings or some sort of system that makes sure the noobs are playing against the noobs and the average players are playing against the average players. And if there are veteran players or highly skilled players, they're balanced between the teams. This game obviously has none of that. If there's a 6-man high-skilled squad out there, they're going to have people getting instant action into that fight that have no business fighting or playing on that skill level. And there's just no way around it. You can't stop it. You can't control it. It's always going to be a part of Planetside 2. The best way I've found is to try to teach people around it. Try to get them to understand why it is that way, how they can sort of get better and maybe slightly compete, or at least not get so frustrated when they face those scenarios. And then finally, one of the biggest questions I get asked is, why can't I use my primary weapon? No, for real though, can't we get some text when someone equips Stalker Cloak that says, you can't use this slot because you're using Stalker Cloak, change your cloak slot? But no, seriously guys, there's just 2 big topics, but there is such a wide range of topics. And the key thing is there is no silver bullet. There is no perfect tutorial that will show them everything they need to know and make them absorb it, that will give them a immediate solid grasp on the game, that will solve all the new player woes. So their strategy, and I think it's a good one, is to try to approach it from a very comprehensive standpoint and try to improve all the systems a little bit. Mentor squads didn't quite work. They had problems with turning into ghost squads. New players were not necessarily finding the support they needed in them. But it's a good concept. So hopefully they can tweak that a little more. To me, ideally, it would really be open platoons, have 4 slots for mentor players, or however you want to do it. try to pair them with the big activity makers on the server so they can get in and learn something. A piece of it is probably going to be adding some more missions. I've already had a few missions that sort of start to teach you about resupplying people. These are great ways to give players direction, teach them at the same time, and get them rewards so they can actually start buying stuff they want. And then all the way up to quality of life things. A lot of players don't really understand that you can direct pull vehicles from terminals. Ways that they can insert little tooltips that will explain all these things to them in-game. Okay, fellow Araxians, lots to talk about. Let's expand on all of this Saturday. And I will appreciate you filling out that form so we can help guide the devs on what we think will be the best way to tackle the new player experience. That's going to be it for now, fellow Araxians. And until next time, I will see you Planetside.